So, hello and welcome to LNTV Liberia Live. We come to you from the tea house here at the Executive Mansion, where a special cabinet meeting is expected to shortly commence, and we see President Joseph Boakai, the Vice President, see
Good morning to members of the cabinet.
the Public Works Minister, the Justice Minister, the Information
As you can
Minister.
see, the agenda is quite extensive because of some of the most important issues that we have to discuss. Going ahead,
So welcome wherever you
the
are.
addressing some of the challenges we face and working toward maintaining the agenda for transformation. As you can see on the agenda, the key items to be discussed today include an update from the Wellline Spring meeting and what the Minister of Finance calls security dive with key marks. The second item on the agenda is Liberia's position in the global context and an update on Liberia's campaign for a non-biased Security Council. Number three, one of the most important issues we must face and address today is the presentation of the domestic resource mobilization strategy and subsequent cabinet endorsement. Number four is an update on the performance management compliance system, which has been rolled out for a year now. This is and some of the recommendations it has to improve its work. There will also be a presentation of e-procurement by the Executive Director of the PPCC. Procurement, the national procurement exercise has been something that a lot of cabinet members and heads of institutions have talked about, and there are issues with easing the process to facilitate quicker deals for different concessions and other activities. And then finally, there will be a presentation on the proposal for the post-war infrastructure development conference. It's one of the major things that the president has been speaking about over the last few months, given the dilapidated nature of our infrastructure within the country. So with that, Mr. President, the meeting over to you, sir.
Where's the agenda?
Good morning. It seems like I think it's kind of the first ones, right? I call this cabinet meeting to order. Next happening. This is live first. A lot of new talking about, and I'm still going to insist because it's an issue of concern. Is to let my name is Mr. It's an issue of concern, and I like, if we haven't been thinking about it in the past, we should take it seriously. As it is, I hope with corporate entities, you take over a corporation, you take over the asset of that corporation as well. We have lost a lot of assets, especially in real estate. When people take over, they just pay attention to the usual administration, except for those who only have a compound degree. But we want to remind all of us that it's about time we begin to take note of the asset that we inherited, administer, direct. We don't do that. Share Africa, and I make reference of the Ministry of Health, Property, and the Rehab. So we just want to say, if we haven't done it, please let us begin to know what we have and where. Normally, at a turnover, it's supposed to be the case, but we didn't have such a turnover. The Omega Tower, you know very well that the property that was acquired for the LMA, and we have noticed that in the past they have taken all of that property. There's a committee set already, and I think this committee should move them faster. Not only that, we want to reclaim that property and give it to the rightful people, but also going towards after the red light, went to Parker Payne and those places. That charcoal market there is not suitable for a city, and we are asking the city mayor to try to find a way to relocate that market. We also want to still mention about anti-corruption measures. We're not just going to talk about it, but we are going to continue actions in any way where we detect that we can verify that government officials are looking the other way at this time. And we want to say that we want to lead by example. All of us, we still have some whistleblowers. We like them, and but once we get a hint of it, we're going to make sure we investigate. There's something I'd like to bring to the attention of the cabinet. I think it's about the mobile money. I was in Ghana, and certain investors had brought to my attention that the mobile money, that they are giving 20% shares to the investors here. And the investors have said that there should be 20% more for the ordinary Liberians. And that issue had become a problem between the investors and our people here, primarily because they believe the other 20% may have been given to people they cannot identify. But for me, it was very fortunate that that came to my attention, even though I told them the only way I would deal into that matter was that if they write me officially because it was a corporate matter. But thinking about it also is that I have a feeling that if 20% was given to public, to individuals, that should not be a corporate thing. It should be a government thing. We should decide who that goes to. And I have written a letter to let the central bank know and the people, luckily they were convening meeting. We will take that 20%. We have use for it. That can go to the university, can go for disabled. You know how much problem we have? That is not corporate matter. That money, your resources are for the government to decide where it goes. I'm hearing some argument, but we're going to take to that. And if they insist we're going to go further, to way back when we were paying $65 for a car, that's a case against the country. So if one for us to go into it, we're going. But that 20% rating should come to government, and government will decide who it goes to. They had decided who it goes to, and one of the ladies that was benefiting died. We'll take that 20%. Government will use it for the purpose of the country. So I just want to let you know, LRA, that should come to your full attention. That government money that should go to public funds. Another issue is that some of the ministers and people are traveling. They write letters when they are already on the way or already gone. Whether you're a corporate entity or so, by requirement supposed to add permission to travel. As a matter of fact, you must understand that all travel, there are government funds that have been expanded. And the thing about travel also is that I see ministers travel even in cases where they're supposed to send their other person. They themselves travel from one trip to the other. I think if we want to run a government where people will even learn to represent you, it should begin now. You can't go to this and then you go to the other one and go to the other one. I think we should learn to do that. So please, some trip that's quiet, that somebody left and a minister go, people should begin to give chance to their deputies and assistants to expose them. And I do see that a lot of cabinet ministers do not attend public functions. Most of the functions we go to, I don't know whether they're not aware, but we want to encourage you that our presence and most of these things, we encourage the public to know that we are working with them. It's not something that I have to announce, but I think it is part of it that, unfortunately for us, most of our ministries are in one building, but we'll just try to pop in and see how things are going on. So you can expect I will do that at any time. The other thing is project implementation. We do see, as in time past, that a lot of funds are allocated for institutions who don't pay attention to them. And I'm saying this with some of the ministries who get a lot of foreign funds, agriculture, health, maybe talking about education and all of it. We would like those monies to be used within their time required. And where there's supposed to be some bill, I think the ministers should be eager to make sure that those funds are made available for use. I think we might have to require for people to report within a specific time amounts that are in their budget or made available to them that they are not using, project that they are not implementing, because this is not doing well for us in terms of our development program. So a lot of monies are lying around, people are not using, and donors are complaining. So we will maybe have to find a way that we become a little inquisitive and ask people to report on funds that are not being utilized. That means some programs are not being initiated simply because people are not taking advantage of the resources. And talking about resources, gone are the days when you ask someone to build a school, you go do some kind of shopping work. We've seen a lot of buildings. There was a time when we used to, in fact, clinic, they just build them and it's so hot because the person just go to a certain number of feet and stuff. We're not going to accept that. You will go to a building that you gave to somebody, some contractor, and they don't meet the requirement, you and that person will have to account for it. There's another school, high school, that is in Bone County now, that will be dedicated maybe to that for the state. And you see what a high school looks like. Our people deserve the best. There's no compromise, nothing to do to come and say this is Liberian style. That's what I told the people at when we went to look at the old Circum Orange. I mean, you can see the quality of work. If you don't build good facilities for your people, you don't attract people that build good facilities for people. A case in point, one time the Prince of Saudi gave money to the late, I think it went through the late Harold Reeve, right after smell notice, and I rode with the Prince of Saudi, and we went to the buildings. The man looked at the building, just shook his head, and we like, because they were way below standard, because there are people who feel that our people don't deserve anything good. We're not going to accept that. So if you gave a contractor, make sure the contractor is building that building to requirements. Otherwise, you're going to be held responsible along with the contractor. I just want to make sure of that. And I know some of our legislators too, when they're doing this funding, that money that's going to be made through this, it has to be a standard, because it's probably spent in the best way possible to benefit the public. The coordination of invitations across the NACs, receiving invitation to events and functions, I think you should begin to invite your colleagues, let them know when there are functions, so that you'll be encouraged to attend. There's a need for interministerial coordination, because we know that there's some cross-cutting in some areas, and we are not here to compete with one another. Should be supported. So I don't like to see when we, for example, there's a travel someplace in the finance or other entities are involved, we should let them know. Their participation should be encouraged, because once you go there, they have their contribution. Without them, they can't make it. So it just shouldn't be a trip with the wrong people. Want to make sure that the trip representation is broad-based to the extent that everybody will participate. I am told that, reminded that, and that's one of those things that we should be looking at when an executive order is issued and it's expiring. I think we should remind us whether it requires a renewal. For example, some vendor told me that the executive order on duty-free on rice has expired and they are paying duty. I don't think we should just be quiet on it because there's a reason why we said it should be duty-free at some point in time. If that reason is not satisfied, I think we should be looking into those matters. And so I want to make these as my initial remarks, but I want to say generally that it's a very excited about some progress that have been made in the country so far. We have to thank our ministers and our agencies for the good work within just a year and a quarter. And not just a normal year and a quarter. From where we took off, you don't even know your way. So I want to thank you all. We want to congratulate the finance ministry. Our ears are always open when you hear you got money, how you got it, how you're going to be. We are happy about it. It's 62, 62 million. We're waiting on how we can begin to. But on a serious note, I think I want to thank you. City's looking cleaner. People, electricity. Someday we will have to call the LEC van to come and just share it up. There was no light, and people are telling me too much light. So, yeah, the dry season is still on. But I want to thank you. This is the way of showing that you're committed to your country. You want to see the best of it. For some people, you've been there all the years, and this is why we hope to be. Even to the extent that the Hajj quota was 300, and it has been used to 300. So this year, last year was 267. This year, we said, well, we used to 300. We found out that people are even coming from America to come down here to go to the Hajj. So the number had grown up to 550. Thanks to Hajj ability. Hajj ability, the first trip she made, I thought she was just coordinating this thing here. Then we came and they were waiting for the plane. I said she coming to see the people up. Now the Hajj ability, I said, well, I'm happy. That's right. You can't take 10 people from jail and you in there. So she is now a Hajj, and I think it's good to have the right people in the right place because this is a society. It's good to people who are familiar with the program. You know, they themselves, they used to play with their own monies, and this time around, things are working very well. People are happy going to the Hajj, and we just want to thank all of you for your cooperation and the extra work you're doing to make things happen for the country. For now, those are my remarks. The other day we went to the HIV/AIDS program. You know, the 34,000 persons in this country were infected, and we believe that they need attention, and that's the largest load, and the people are very, very much cooperative. They're working, and so we went there. I hope the pledges that were made were not Nigerian pledges. after which you have to run until you forget about it. But I think the turnout was not bad, but we need to help. And that's even the more that we'll have to pursue all money that's supposed to come to government to help with those programs. I'm not going to say anything about anything that is now officially to my attention. I see the Director General for Enfield here. Maybe he has something to tell us, but if that's so, he will do it himself. But I want to say again, thank you. At some other points, we'll be making some other intervention. Is it on? I don't know.
Thank you, Mr. President, for the remarks. We'll go straight into our agenda. And we'll now ask the Foreign Minister as well as his security guard with Puma. And ladies and gentlemen, we can do each of these presentations within the time frame of 15 minutes. So please compress.
So you listened to the Liberian leader, that's President Joseph Boakai, giving an overview of the entire meeting and speaking on other crucial issues that are happening within the country. We heard him talking about the Omika area, talking about the Lone Star Cell MTN mobile money issue, how Liberians deserve better. When an amount is being allocated for a particular project, that project should be executed to the letter. It has to do with the quality, it has to do with, everything, the infrastructure and everything. So if you were given $5,000 to construct, for example, a school, that school should be constructed within the 5,000 benchmark. Don't go below. So Liberians deserve better. A lot of issues that you heard it for yourself that in touch. July 26th celebrations are around the corner. What is the government doing? And ministers who are like traveling without allowing their deputy to also have the benefit. That issue was also touched. And coordination among the ministries and agencies, because they are working for a certain goal, and that is to achieve the arrest agenda for inclusive development. It is, and they are not doing it maybe for themselves, but they are doing it for the sake of the people and the government. So it is not about competition, it is not about pleasing someone, but they are trying to do it for the people and for the government. And as long as the government succeeds, the people are going to get feel the trickle down effect of the benefits that the government should be giving them. This is LNTV, Liberia Live. My name is Vasta Talu. Thank you ever so much for watching. Join us subsequently for the closing statement from His Excellency and other, ministers who are in the room. We saw the Minister of Justice, Councillor Oswald Tuer, the government mouthpiece, Minister Jerolimic Pia, that's the Information Minister. We also saw the Labour Minister. We saw the information, not the information, but the Finance Minister. And we saw Minister Mama Kabilite, and a lot of them, they're in that meeting. Right after that, we will give you an update from the Director General of the Cabinet or the Presidential Press Secretary, Kula Fofana, or the Information Minister himself will be briefing us. Thank you ever so much, Pastor Talu. Thanks for watching.